Yeah, and I'll try to take that thread and go somewhere with it. I think it's I think you're absolutely right that what we're seeing is, you know, the reset has not changed what people are, how they're behaving relative to their core. It has changed a couple of sort of more shallow but important consumer trends for those of us that make and sell things, which is most of us in the room. And you know, the question was about how has innovation changed in the face of that. And I think about, you know, there's these macro trends going on of obviously a flight to value is obvious, an abandonment of convenience, you know, commoditization of green. These are sort of the move to simplicity, things like that. And what I find interesting is that people are not abandoning that core. It really has defined them, and it permeates their consumer shopping habits. But I'll use a quick example to try to tie it back to innovation, which is I hear in the press, in the sort of analyst reports, a lot of the larger consumer products companies that we know well, talking about the convenience trend. And for a long time in consumer products, the convenience trend has manifested itself in, you know, sort of Swiffer type things and toilet wands with disposable things and like a telescoping pole that you can clean the far corner of that room. And that's how they've been, you know, the businesses have been growing, and they're saying that's over permanently, right? Convenience is sort of dead, and it's going to be all about value. And I actually think that's dead wrong. I think it's absolutely dead wrong, because what's happened right now is, think about the scarcity of time and the scarcity of money. We're living in a time right now where all of a sudden money is more scarce than time. And so people are sort of flighting to value for a little while, but it's also manifesting itself in ways like they just want to live more simply, more according to those core values. And so when money becomes less scarce and time becomes more scarce, I think convenience will come back. But if you're going to deliver innovation in that area, it's not going to be the way it once was. It's not going to be a telescoping pole and a new device that clogs up room in your closet so you can reach the far corner of that thing, or a disposable toilet wand thing that every time you use it, you're throwing away plastic. It's going to be redesigned in a way that's more simple, that's more connected to some of the core values that you talked about. And so the design challenge becomes a little bit different, and the innovation process becomes a little bit different. That's how I think it's not changing. It's still just as important, or it's not going away. It's just as important. It's just changing.
But how do you think that then, in terms of buying decisions for companies that kind of provide some social value or value, do you think people are going to go back, though, to just pure economic decisions, or do you think that social aspect will play in it, particularly with your product as well?
I mean, I think both. One of the things that we talked about in our breakfast was the difference between sustainability or health or green as an aspect of a product's quality and a company's quality versus a brand position. And I think if it's a brand position, that's troubling. That's very troubling, because green is commoditized already, I would argue. And so if that's your brand position and the big guys are taking it over, then, and that's all you are, then you're not different. But if you're that as a part of the quality of the thing that you make or the media that you put out there, the content, and you're a lot more than that, then you're satisfying the things that people want and need in their lifestyles, but in a way that's true to their core values. And I think that that's totally critical right now.
So it's, to some extent, and I think, Wolf, you can address this, it's also a stressing of that it's your authenticity as opposed to, you know, a brand strategy or marketing strategy. Is that to some extent what you're saying? Because I know you guys, having the depth of, you know, experience and having been there for a long time, the green thing is going to be an important part of your message. But is it becoming less so?
I think nowadays the decisions will be made not only on the green and social things. It will be a decision on quality. It will be, for fashion, it will be decision on design. And maybe you can, Evan, switch in the slide. Okay, we created a T-shirt, and this T-shirt, it's totally organic. This T-shirt fulfills the highest social standards, but not at least, it has a really big design appeal. And this is covered from all the fashion press. And that is what's something really important for us. Is if we are only moving in the green media, we don't get the broad audience. And this is one of my things which I think is really, really important. We have to use the communication and the sales ways normal conventional companies do. And we have to be at the customer and make them a smart offer. Not only a green offer, it has to be an offer which fulfills their needs, and even for women to dress them pretty. And if you're only green and you're only sustainable, that's nice. You will have a small business. If you want to have a bigger business, you have to fulfill the needs people have. And for me, this is pretty important. And let's go to the quality part. As a German, I can say made in Germany is really important for us, and it's a kind of measure for quality. And I think this will change. I think the new measure for quality will be made organically, made social responsible. And as Adam said, this should not be your brand position. That should be how you make your business. It's about making kind of social business, and the brand positioning, especially for Hess Natur, would be, okay, we are design driven, we work with designers, we have a really likely art to dress people, and this is the brand positioning, and the other thing, social sustainability, is more the core.
And I think you said something really important, which is that the sustainability of the product is a function of its quality, not the other way around. And that's really key, super key, because ultimately that's what you're providing to the consumer, is something that is quality for her needs, not just from a core standpoint, from a sustainability philosophy, but what is it? What does it do? And what benefit does it bring?
How about the other piece of that, though, the kind of sex appeal that it takes to bring in the mainstream consumers? Can you guys talk a little bit to that and how you're doing that?
Should I start? So my company is obviously very different from their companies as a media company. What you find, we have a site, intent.com. Over there we have over 400 experts who are blogging for us, and we have an amazing community from around the world that's sharing their intents and writing content. Our entire business model, though, is we hope to be completely collaborative and find win-win situations. So my friends here from Care2 and BeliefNet and Huffington Post, we have great relationships with all of these other companies, and have really, at our core, seen them as our partners, not as our competitors. And even when we create content, our content, we want it everywhere. That's the way we build our brand, and that's the way we get more exposure. And so we really approach that in a kind of a core to our business is, looking at distribution as much as possible through these partner sites. But when it comes to sex appeal, I always say this, I have all these amazing people blogging on my site, Andrew Cohen, who will be here later, my father, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. I mean, we have really kind of, the founder of Greenpeace. And the reality is most people don't understand what they talk about on a mainstream level. And what we find, though, is that it's often, a really simple article on how do I sleep better, or, a relationship article which will get picked up by Yahoo or Huffington Post or some of these other sites, and that is really ultimately what brings, and definitely the sex articles get a lot of pickup. But we don't have a judgment on that. We really see that everybody starts their own journey on their own path, and there's no judgment there, and then that's kind of a window into kind of an entire journey, and we've really taken the position that wellness or well-being begins with personal well-being, so healthy living, healthy relationships, finding purpose in your work, and then you kind of begin the path of social responsibility and Mother Earth and other things as well. So we all start in a different place.